It's spooky season, and you know we here at the Pop Culture Junkie podcast are celebrating. My name is Shauna, and I'm here with
Olivia.
What have you been doing to get in the mood for Halloween, Olivia?
Well, actually, I just went to the spookiest place of them all, New York City.
Like Transylvania? Scottsdale?
Scottsdale, Arizona? No, actually, so I just went to New York City for the first time.
Wait. That was your first time?
Yeah, I've never been to New York City ever before.
How did I not know that? I thought you had gone already.
No.
Did you love it?
I loved it. Yeah, it was fun. Another scary thing is I was going to a family wedding. That's a real spooker.
Spooky.
No, but it was gorgeous. It was a beautiful wedding. My cousin was a gorgeous bride, but it was pretty cool because we were actually able to get a mix of like wedding time and then sightseeing. So got to go to Central Park. We went to the World Trade Center and did like the restaurant there.
I didn't get to go inside when I went. I showed up at night to the World Trade Center and I got to see like the memorial.
Yep.
But I want to go inside the museum. I didn't realize there was a restaurant in there,
Yeah,
too.
so it's like a 360 view of the city. So I got to see all of New York City from up there.
So cool.
It's the tallest building now. What's pretty crazy about it, though, is the way that they built it is it kind of like sways a little bit. It makes it more structurally sound. But I'm coming off of being very sick and very nauseous. And I was like, oh, God, am I getting vertigo up here?
Oh, my God. No.
And so it was really cool to be able to see the city and that high up and really look at all of the history. I got to walk through like Central Park and go see all of those
I didn't get to do Central
really
Park
cool
when
things.
I went. Did you go to Times Square?
No, because I have a claustrophobia problem and I don't like really large crowds.
Oh,
and so that'll kind of
interesting.
lead into what we're going to discuss today as well.
I mean,
but
it depends on what day of the week you go. When I went, like, it's definitely busy, but it's not like you see on, the New Year's ball drop or some shit like all the time.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people in ratty Elmo costumes that were like coming up to. It's very strange.
Yeah, it just kind of seemed like a tourist trap, and everyone says like it's insanely expensive. The crowds are a lot, and so we went to Rockefeller Center, and I actually got to go to the Jimmy Fallon Tonightmares haunted house.
That's the scariest thing you did.
Yeah.
You spent time with Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I didn't actually get to see him. I just heard his voice coming through it.
It's horrifying.
But last year I went to 13 Floors in Arizona, and I'm just extremely disappointed with haunted houses nowadays.
Dude, I love a good haunted house, but like I
there
haven't
aren't
been
any good
that
ones.
scared lately.
Yeah, there aren't any good ones anymore, and I don't know if it's like growing up and I'm desensitized.
I still scream at every single thing that jumps out at me. I went to, have you gone to Fear Farm in Arizona?
Yeah, terrible.
You gotten chased by the dude with the chainsaw through a corn maze?
I think it's because I just
shit your pants.
But I just giggle, and then they're like, "Oh, this isn't my audience. I'm gonna go find a 6-year-old."
Oh my God. There's Shauna. Let's chase her instead.
Yeah, but I liked. So if you're in New York City, I would definitely pop it. It was good. It was great, and it was a good haunted house, but it also had like a characterization of Jimmy Fallon, and
That's
so
horrifying.
Yeah, so it's like Jimmy Fallon's reoccurring nightmares. So it's like 10 different rooms or hauntings, and he like starts it off, and you go through with the tour guide. I think if you didn't have the tour guide there, it'd be really scary.
Oh yeah,
because you're like, where the hell am I going? You kind of had that safety net, but
yeah,
I really
like
liked
if you're
it.
going with like one friend or you're alone.
Yeah.
And I like being in the front of the group.
Yeah.
So you don't have the scare spoiled for you from the people in front of you screaming.
Yes. Yeah, I think one thing they did really well that haunted houses don't do very well anymore is they had enough space between parties.
That's the
and
thing,
so you didn't
you
hear
don't have the spoilers.
the spookiness, like someone getting scared. Like when we went to the 13th floor, there is this like dad and daughter right in front of us, and they just like ruined everything for us.
I mean, not that we have fucking time to do anything anything with our lives, but I love a good haunted house. I love it.
So if you have a good Arizona haunted house recommendation, we would definitely take it. But it was really fun. It was great. Where the reception of the wedding was actually it's called Balthazar. It was featured in a Sex and the City episode. So it was very, very fun. And so we just had a grand old time and very expensive time.
And you were sober the whole time.
Yeah, that's the scariest part.
That is horrifying.
Sober at a wedding with family.
Was there an open bar where you just you're like, I can't do it now? It
was probably the nicest wedding I've ever been to.
Yeah, it's because you didn't go to my wedding.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to try to put a figure on it, but it was definitely a preview into how other people live.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
But yeah, lots of walking around.
I'm jealous. I want to go back to New York City.
Yeah.
I did get to do one cool thing. Last weekend, Jennifer Garner was here for a Moms for Kamala event.
Oh, I love that.
And I said, Moms? Of course I need to go. All of my children.
Yes. Buffy counts.
Buffy and Toes both count.
Yeah.
And sometimes my husband counts.
Yeah. Are you, well, I wouldn't call your husband your child.
I don't know.
Then that's incestuous. That's
it's like that joke, like, I always got to clean up
after
House
him.
Of Dragons? He's like my child.
Yeah.
No, he's older than me. House of the Dragon. No, that would be marrying my brother, not my own son. Anyway, let's not talk about incest anymore.
Yeah,
I got to meet Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, that's really was she as sweet as she seems?
Dude, she's amazingly sweet. Like, if you follow her on social media, she just seems so down to earth and chill and just like a normal person, and that was absolutely her. So there was a couple other speakers, and it was all about maternal welfare and access to child care and reproductive rights, and they were encouraging people to vote for Kamala for that.
Yeah.
And I went representing the Yes on Prop 139 campaign for Arizona for abortion access. Vote. And we all, she gathered in the middle. It was at this cute little bar called Drink Me Tea Room, which we definitely need to check out.
Okay.
You can do...
they have tea, so I can drink.
They have Sunday, afternoon... Not Sunday, but everyday tea and crumpets.
Okay.
And then also some good cocktails.
Okay. I love that.
And got to walk up to Jennifer at the end. And when I told Andrew I was meeting her, I was like, I'm going to go up to her and say, hi, Jenna Rink. I'm also 13 going on 35. I loved you in Deadpool. And he's like, please do not, for the love of God, Shauna, stop. Do not, please. Oh my God, I'm just, no.
Was he there?
No.
I would have done it.
It was you had to be vetted before you got in kind of thing.
Okay.
So I didn't invite him. He's got his, his dark past. So.
He's the man who has never had a sip of alcohol or done anything fun in his life.
He's not a mom for Kamala. He's
not a mamala.
He's not a mamala. He's a cat dad for Kamala, so he wasn't invited.
Yes.
But she was very sweet, and all I said was, hi, my name's Shauna. I'm with Yes on Prop 139, Arizona for abortion access. I just wanted to thank you for coming to Arizona and using your platform to promote such important causes.
Ugh, I love her. I love her so much.
She was very articulate. And she said, oh my gosh, of course, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. And we took a cute little pic.
It was cute, yeah.
And then I got in the car and I was like, she was so nice. She was so nice.
Literally, I can't even imagine meeting her. She posted this video the other day on her TikTok, and she picks up the Electra wands.
Like the scythe, dual scythe thing.
Wands.
Yeah. Electra's a witch and Olivia is
Yes. She has a wand. So she goes, wow, I haven't done anything with these in so long. Like, it's been like 20 years. And she just starts picking them up and moving them around so gracefully and elegantly.
Dude.
And I just think, thank God that woman got away from Ben Affleck.
She was up there speaking about just women's rights, and she had a piece of paper for her speech that she didn't even look at once.
Yeah.
And just her glasses in her hand, and all the speakers who went before her, she was just intently listening to them and clapping, and I thought, this woman was married to Ben Affleck. What the fuck?
She deserves love and light for the rest of her years for being married to that man. Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, she was delightful. So I do have a few more celebrities on my list that I am coming up to meet in the next couple weeks.
But
I'm
exciting.
I'm not going to say it until it happens and I post a picture.
Yes, we'll save it for the Instas. But yeah, you're on a tear. Lil Nas X, The Daily, Jennifer Garner.
The Daily stuff still hasn't dropped, but that's fine.
Yeah, pretty soon Shauna's just going to like leave me and ditch this podcast and be like, I'm so cool.
I mean, I'm already pretty cool, but...
I mean, maybe. Well, debatable, but...
I'm not going anywhere. I am too anxious to be famous. I like eating carbs too much to be famous.
Yeah.
I'd be walking down the street and somebody would stick a camera in my face and I'd just be like, stop. I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
I didn't wear makeup today.
Well, if you ever do see Shauna in the street, know that she would love a hello.
I would love a hello.
Yeah.
And a compliment on my bangs.
Yeah, they do look good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I box dyed my hair.
I know your hairstylist is going to be so upset with you.
I know, but it looks really good.
It does look good.
It
yeah,
if you're
on YouTube, you can see how good it looks.
If you're my hairstylist listening to this, I'm really sorry. I had to.
I'm busy fighting for your rights. I had to box dye.
Insane.
That's the sacrifices she makes for us guys.
Yeah, listen, you're gonna have abortion rights in Arizona because I box dyed my hair this quarter.
I believe it. But there's no other things there that we need to discuss.
Women's rights. That's the only reason
wrongs. Shauna, box dyed her hair.
Pop culture and Halloween go together so well. The haunted houses, the monster movies, imaginative costumes, TV specials. It's the most magical time of the year.
Honestly, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's much better than the newsboy voice.
You said newsboy, and my Christian youth group kid, there's a Christian band called the Newsboys. Oh. And I was like, you know the Newsboys?
That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
You know the Newsboys? Oh
no, for me, I have a annual tradition that spooky season starts for me in July. This year, I did not stick to that. I think it's because I live alone and...
You came to my Halloween pool party in July.
I did, where you woodsed me.
Yeah, and you came in costume. It was
great. Yes.
So,
but normally I start watching a horror movie every single day. I didn't start that in September like I normally do. So I've just been powering through. I watched all the Screams.
From the franchise.
Yeah, from the franchise. And, it really got me thinking about just the horror genre in general.
And how there's so many different genres inside of the big genre.
And it's honestly like crazy. Like if you just go through and look at it, there's so many different types. Like we have your traditional 1980s slasher, which really give you like Freddy, Jason, all of those, Michael Myers. And then you go into Scream, which is a very meta commentary on all of the slasher genres. And I think Scream is just such a good example of why horror can be so good, because it is a commentary on culture and the art that we're making and how it can become,
exploitative,
or just cookie cutter, like copy paste. And I think Scream was a really interesting commentary on that, and then it's continued, but then you go into like a Scream 4, which is making a comment about all of the other Screams.
It's like a meta.
Yeah, it's like and it becomes like this
self-aware
crazy thing. Then we go into the 2000s where we have a lot of found footage.
Oh my gosh. Do you like found footage horror films?
So
how do you feel about those?
I like the Blair Witch Project.
I've never seen the Blair Witch Project.
What?
I know. Isn't that insane?
Oh my gosh.
We need to add.
Okay. We're adding it to the list.
My list, like I do the same that you do. Is like I try to watch as many horror movies as I can throughout October. And I have a few favorites that I'll rewatch. But my husband and I always try to watch horror movies that we've never seen before. So we rewatched the entire Scream franchise last year because there was a couple in there that I had missed. Like 4 and 5. Yeah, just randos. And I enjoyed all of them. You and I are going to talk in a little bit about a horror movie that we both watched recently that I had never seen. But found footage, I need to add Blair Witch to my list, honestly. Yes. But I really did like Cloverfield.
Okay. I liked that one too.
Yeah, which is a good mix of found footage and kind of like supernatural, alien horror. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Blair Witch is really good. The Blair Witch is crazy because when it came out, I think it came out in like 98 or 99, they passed it off as actually found footage
and people believed it.
Yeah. And it was done really, really well. And, you know, I think we've talked in other episodes about how crazy it would be to be on the Blair Witch, because a lot of it is them just like ad hoc, like acting. They didn't really have a script. They actually lost the map. Like, there's so many things within this movie, and it really started it off. I do like the Paranormal Activity movies as well. I love those movies. My favorite, funny enough, is the fourth one with Catherine Newton in it.
I need to rewatch those two. The one that stands out in my mind the most is the first one.
Yep.
Scared the shit out of Andrew.
Yeah.
Like, we went to the theater to see, I don't know, the third or fourth one, and he was in the seat next to me and like shaking his foot so hard.
Well, I mean, if he puts himself in that.
Okay? And he's like, I don't know, man. I'm not even this.
I think the second and the fourth one are my favorites. After the fourth one, it's just like, what are we still doing here?
Yeah, the first one was so good and so iconic because it's so low budget and so unique, and it feels authentic. Like, it feels like this could be a couple that you know that's just going through this shit in their haunted house.
Yeah, where I feel like Andrew probably got so scared because he could put himself in that, where it's like, oh, we're childless couple. Yeah. Like, oh no.
Like, me and Shauna are getting wrecked. We're done. She's getting hella possessed. We still do that. Do you remember when she stands at the edge of the bed and we do that to each other all the time?
God.
I'll just stand at the edge of the bed and just slowly.
That's so scary. I would probably punch you in the face on accident, though. Because I'd be like,
accident.
Yeah, well, if I woke up in a sleepy stupor and someone was doing that, I would just backhand.
The only time I would ever do that to you is if we were just trashed.
Yeah. Well, at that point, you know, it might just be you broke your foot and you need help, and I just tell you to
please, I need to go to a hospital. Lay back down.
I just tell you to shut up.
I think I need to go to the emergency room. Why do you sound like a dying animal?
You did. I can't help it. But, you know, there's so many different types of horror. There's psychological, which I think is probably my favorite because it really gets in your head. Supernatural, probably my second favorite there. We talked a little bit about monsters. And then I think a genre that I really want to see come back is comedy horror, which I love. Scary Movie 1 through 3. It is so good. The first three
are so good. And then it got, because they started branching off and they did
Epic Movie. Or they had Kim Kardashian and she ruined it.
Yeah. In Romance Movie, or I don't know. They had this whole spin-off genre and they were all terrible. But the first three Scary Movies are fucking hilarious. I like kind of rom-com horror, and I don't even know if it's considered horror, I guess, but we just watched Let the Right One In, and it's this Swedish movie about a little boy who's bullied at school. It's based on a novel.
Okay.
And a vampire moves in next door, and they're about the same age. Well, kind of. It's a vampire. So. Yeah. And they end up, I mean, that's his only friend, and it's really sweet. And it got a really good score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't know, I popped up on some article, which is why I chose it. But there's an American remake called Let Me In with Chloe Grace Moretz. Is that her name?
Yeah.
And apparently it's pretty good, too.
I have seen that one.
Yeah. Watch the Swedish one. It was really good.
Okay. Do they have a dubbed version, or is it all subtitles?
We watched it in subtitles because I'm a subtitle person, but I know you're a dub person.
I can't, it's like that meme of The Office where he's just staring at her chest, and he is like, that's all I see. Like, I can't observe the acting. I can't observe, like, the jumps or, like, really get into it.
I know you have to sound each word out for a long time when you read. It's fine, baby. I know.
Says the illiterate one. Vampire. Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. But it wasn't scary as much as, I mean, there's some gore in it and stuff. Yeah. So it was horror adjacent.
Okay.
And kind of like Warm Bodies.
Yes.
I love Warm Bodies.
Yes. I think that there's so many different types. Like, you have like folk horror, you have paranormal, you have vampires, like you talked about. One that I really love as well and will never get sick of is zombies. I think
I love zombie movies.
You know, Walking Dead, we did a whole episode about it. Shout out to Haley. They are just so good. And I think Train to Busan, have you ever seen that?
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's really great.
Did you watch it dubbed?
No, subtitles. I did it. I can do it, but
I'm so proud of you.
There's just so much action in that and not a lot of speaking.
That's true. So the dialogue is a lot of like, my leg, my leg. Which translates in every language.
Yeah, that's an easy one. But then there's also dark fantasy, apocalyptic. We have Lovecraftian, and just so many different types.
Aliens, haunted houses. Apocalyptic and like post-apocalyptic horror are some of my favorite genres. And I know I've talked about this a million times in the podcast, but I love end of the world stuff.
Yeah.
And I love confined to a compromising situation. So that Ryan Reynolds movie where he's buried underground in a coffin.
No.
Love it. I love it.
Well, that's actually a really great point because we're going to talk about one of the horror genres that gets me the most, and it's phobia horror.
I went on to Reddit, and I, as one does when they
late at night,
as a millennial does, and I searched scariest movie ever made.
Okay.
And a lot of different options came up. Some of them you and I had mentioned about watching, but I have no interest in watching, like a Serbian film.
Yep, nope,
which
never
is
gonna
just
go there.
Supposed to be disgusting and disturbing more than scary. I am not about that.
Yeah.
Like graphic porn adjacent, like
yes, what do they call them?
Torture porn.
Yeah, torture porn, like
a snuff film.
Yeah, there we go, snuff films. Yeah, I can't
ain't
do
about
it.
That. The first Saw, amazing. Subsequent Saws, nah.
Yeah.
So we went away from that, and then I suggested a movie called Antichrist, which I think is also kind of close to that.
Okay.
With Willem Dafoe. Apparently, it's supposed to be horrifying. The scariest movie I've ever seen personally is Hereditary.
Okay.
That movie scared the shit out of me. That movie stuck with me for months. A lot of people said a movie called The Descent was the scariest movie they had ever seen. And I had never seen it.
Which is crazy to me. Yes. One night, me and my cousin, her and I both love horror movies. Shout out Kate. And we decided to do a phobia horror movie binge. And so we went, because it's one of the ones that messes me up the most. Yeah. And so I have to go into movies that like I know are going to make me uncomfortable. And so we decided to watch The Descent because you had never seen it. But while we were talking about it, I had asked if you had ever seen As Above, So Below, which is really similar to The Descent. But The Descent is a phobia horror because they are descending into these caves. And
it's so very claustrophobic.
Yeah, there are like 5 women in it who are chasing the adventure junkies. Yeah. So
God, it pissed me off so bad. I watched it just yesterday.
So tell us your rating on a 1 to 5 scaries. How scaries?
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna give it about a 4 scaries.
Okay,
maybe a 3 or 4.
Okay,
I wasn't just like, oh my God, shaking. But I guess a lot of things don't do that to me unless it's like a psychological horror, like Hereditary, which. When they focus on his face and he knows his sister is headless in the backseat, that shook me to my core.
That I saw that in theaters and everyone just went,
did too. And it's just silence over the entire audience. Yeah. That shook me. That was like a
Ari Aster does really well, and I think he really put A24 on the map for horror.
A24, amazing horror. The Descent, I really did enjoy. I liked the main actress's name was Shauna McDonald, and it's spelled the same way as I do.
Wow.
The proper way with a U.
Yes.
And my sister-in-law's last name is McDonald. And
it's true.
Andrew's like, if you married Blake, your name would be Shauna McDonald. And I'd be like,
good one, babe.
And then I went through my entire, like a moment, my like brain where I just ran through my entire life with my sister-in-law's husband. Like, God, we would be disgusting together.
You guys would be the worst couple ever.
Oh my God, we would just be feral. We would do all of the substances you could possibly think of. I would be just never.
We need the counterbalance. We need the counterbalance of the Trinidad family name.
Blake and I are both equally disgusting and just. Anyway, it would be bad. It would never work out. But shout out to Shauna McDonald in this movie, who plays Sarah.
She does a great job in it.
Yes. I'm going to spoil this movie. It came out in, 2007 or something?
Yeah, maybe. I think
it was when we were like 2008, 2007.
Okay,
they had
maybe.
very mid-2000 haircuts.
Yep.
And she is an adrenaline junkie with her gal pals, and they go whitewater rafting in the beginning. They're adrenaline junkies. They're driving home from this trip, and her daughter and her husband, who is from the first minute that he helps her friend out of the water and they make eye contact, I go, they're having sex. And Andrew's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, her husband's cheating on her with her best friend.
That was a sexual
look. Can you
look.
not see that? That was the most sexual eye contact I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler, they are. But her husband and her daughter are horrifically killed in this car crash with a pole to the head.
Ugh.
And a year later, her gal pals all gather back up and they want to descent into the cabins, which is called spelunking.
Spelunkers.
They are some spelunkers.
Spooky spelunkers.
A whole new genre, spooky spelunking. You will never catch me spelunking.
Yeah, no.
Never.
In Austin, there's a bunch of cave systems, and they would take you there on school field trips, and I absolutely hated it.
Spelunking children. Is
I mean, it was a discovered cavern system, and it was a tourist.
That's true. As long as you have that going for you, because her friend in this movie pissed me off so bad. First of all, it's the friend who's having sex with her husband, or who used to.
Who wants to discover a new cave system, but tells not a single one of them that no one has ever adventured here before. There is like a known pathway or
that
system
they all think they're going
that
on.
They all
this
think that they're going
one.
to. Yeah.
And she keeps the map in the car to surprise them, and is like, I wanted us to be the first ones to discover it.
So I could name it after you.
Yeah,
because I slept with your husband and he died.
Yeah. And you know how bold it is? She has this necklace on, the best friend does, the entire time that was from the girl's dead husband.
Yep.
How bold.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you slept with my husband and he bought you a necklace, don't wear the necklace around me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah. It's really, really good. I mean,
but I did love the movie. I loved the movie. It was claustrophobic as hell.
Yeah. I was watching it while I was working today, and I just, like, my shoulders increasingly, like, rise. Like, the part where they're all starting to, like, crawl through
that was the
tunnel.
Scariest part.
I hate that so much. Like, there are monsters in this movie, but really,
that was scarier than the monsters. When they are in these tiny little, and then she very realistically has a panic attack, which would be me in that situation.
Oh no,
for sure.
I would have been like, put me back up somehow. You're all pulling a little bit.
I'll stay up here, you guys, and I'll get brunch ready for when you emerge. I'll cut up little cucumber and cream cheese sandwiches for us. You guys have fun. But yeah, she has a panic attack while she's in this tunnel thing, and that was the scariest part to me too. I mean, the monsters are horrifying and very well done, and it's very bloody and scary. I will say there was a lot of jump cuts, which I don't like in movies. Okay. I like more of a prolonged scene where the camera just kind of focuses on one thing. Okay. And this one cut.
Yeah, you're like going through different moments in time where they're just
more just like, now he's on top, now she's on top, now it's this angle, now it's this angle. I don't know. Like, John Wick is so good with those action scenes because it just holds on to them, you know?
Yep.
But this one, I don't know. There was lots of cuts. But overall, I really liked it. Did you see the sequel?
I actually have never seen Descent 2. I was thinking about watching it just like right after it.
Yeah.
Didn't look great.
It doesn't have the greatest Rotten Tomatoes score. It's better than Joker 2.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even talk about that. Yeah, Descent is one of those rare horror movies that actually has an 80%. Yeah. Or 79. Let me be statistically accurate.
Yes, that's right.
For the horror genre to have an 80% is very difficult. I mean, it's almost unheard of.
Isn't that shitty? It's like horror movies never get the accolades that I think they really deserve. You're never going to see a true horror movie in the Academy Awards. Maybe
unless it's Parasite.
That's true. Oh, Parasite was so good.
Parasite is an outlier because
that is true.
I think it's one of the highest rated horror movies on Rotten Tomatoes. Well,
and definitely a psychological, and it speaks a lot to like class structure.
Also has subtitles. I watched it.
Did you watch it with the subtitles?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have understood the movie if I didn't.
I mean, I'm sure it's dubbed somewhere. Olivia's watching it. She's like, "Is there a person in the basement? What is?"
No clue. No thoughts. Just vibes. Just existing.
Vibing. This movie's horrifying. That reminds me when we watched that Lindsay Lohan movie.
So one time, Shauna and I, we were trying to support our girl in the Lohannaissance.
Yes.
The Lohannaissance missed it for this movie. Let's say that.
I don't even remember what it was
we
called.
were drinking, and we just looked at each other, and we said, should we just mute this and make up our own dialogue
so
instead?
We absolutely did.
Just absolutely hammered. It did make the movie better.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great once we muted it, but...
Oh, Bob, I can't remember who I am, but maybe we should make sweet, sweet love. I think I could save the town Christmas competition, which I think was kind of just the movie anyway, but anyway.
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of bad horror movies out there, right? Like, we have, like, The Slothtening, and there's some, like, ridiculous movies.
I think that's more comedy horror, probably.
But, you know, there are a lot of A-list celebrities that we know and love today that came out of the horror genre.
Yes.
So we have Tom Hanks, whose very first acting credit was in the slasher movie He Knows You're Alone. I actually did not know that he got his start from
I've never even heard of
movies.
that, but I feel like we should watch it.
Now, I did know about Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Matthew McConaughey. And fun fact about me is I actually grew up in Travis County, which is where the movie is set.
I've never seen the original, and that was the other movie that we were talking about watching, so I think that's going to have to be on my list.
It's worth watching.
Yeah.
Definitely. I grew up on the Jessica Biel Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. See, I've definitely
so it is my
seen
favorite
that one.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Sexual Awakening.
It's good.
You know?
I'm gay now.
Yeah. Just, why does she look so good?
She's so good looking. Jennifer Aniston also got her star in horror in The Leprechaun in 1993.
Have you ever seen that before?
No, I have no interest in seeing that.
I think that is a silly little scary movie. My favorite Leprechaun one, though, is Back to the Hood.
I feel like that would be so offensive.
It is. But the Leprechaun murders this guy with a bong, and that scene is stuck with me forever.
That's how you're going to die someday, by the way.
Well, that's why
Leprechaun's going to murder you with your Rick and Morty bong.
Yeah, that's why I have the belief that that's going to be my weapon if someone ever comes into my apartment trying to kill me. I throw the water in their face and I break the bong over their head. Yeah.
That reminds me of another horror movie that I love called Cabin in the Woods, where he uses his collapsible bong as a weapon.
I mean, no notes.
No notes. Amazing. I love that movie. And that's kind of like a comedy horror movie.
I would say
breaks a lot of tropes.
It's the Scream of 2010.
Yes.
Where it is a commentary on all the monsters and it's a reawakening. And I always show that movie to people who say they hate horror. Like Eric said he hated horror movies, but I made him watch.
Calling out Eric.
Yeah, I made him watch.
He hates horror movies.
Yeah, he like refuses to watch them. And so I was like, okay, you have to watch Cabin in the Woods. Yeah. And he actually really liked it. Good. So I show that to a lot of people who say like, oh, I hate horror movies. I think it's, if you don't like horror movies, you just probably think of it as like everything is Saw. And there's so many different types of it.
That's the thing. Growing up, I did not like horror movies. I was just a very I've said this before, but very sensitive, yucky, ugh. Things would make me sick. I watched House of Wax with my boyfriend when I was 16.
That's a good one, though.
Now I would probably love it, but watching it at 16, we were cuddling on his parents' couch. I remember thinking, I'm going to break up with him after this. I am scarred.
Well,
I'm never going
House
to
of
be the
Wax
same.
is so scary because of
It's
Uncanny
so
Valley.
Scary. It's the Uncanny Valley.
Go back to the last episode.
And when they peel his face off and you see
Yeah. House of Wax.
That's horrifying.
That was a great movie in a moment in time because people just wanted to see Paris Hilton get murdered.
And they put that in the commercials, watch Paris die.
Yeah.
And she knew.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And I need to watch it now as an adult. I watched it with Andrew and I just go, I think I'm going to break up with my husband. I think I want a divorce. But I was convinced that I hated horror.
Yep.
It was too gross. It was too gory. I don't like watching people's heads and faces get cut off, is what I would always say. And then Andrew, when we were dating, convinced me to watch the first Evil Dead movie.
Okay.
And he had it on DVD and was and I saw the cover and I was this looks
covers. I still have that at my parents' house.
Right. And I was like, no, this looks horrifying. And he's like, I swear to God, please just trust me. Yeah. And from then on, I was like, that was incredible.
You're hooked.
That was incredible.
That's amazing. I love that. That was your foray back into it.
Yeah. I mean, I would watch you know when you're a little kid and did you have cable in your bedroom as a kid? And you're flipping through the channels and like Pet Sematary comes on or Poltergeist, and then you're watching it, then you change the channel real quick because you're like, I'm going to get caught and this is too scary, but then you change it back. And then you change it again. Yeah. Me and Heather did that a lot growing up.
That is actually how I found Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Oh my God. It was on BET. On like TBS or something.
No, it was on BET.
Oh my God.
But, you know, there are so many people who we know and love.
Yeah, let's run through these real quick and get to them.
Paul Rudd starred in Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Now, Clueless came out before that, but he actually had filmed Halloween before Clueless. Yes. And then we have Patrick Dempsey, the beauty that he is, who's also in Scream 3. He's also in Scream 3.
And he's also in that Thanksgiving movie. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. I've been wanting to watch it, though.
Good. Watch it in Thanksgiving, like with the whole fam.
Yeah, I love that. He was in The Stuff.
You can stuff me. Elizabeth Olsen starred in Silent House in 2011.
I don't think I've seen that.
Neither have I, but I love me some Elizabeth Olsen.
Maybe it's because it was too silent. Even the movie promotion was too silent. But we get us Elizabeth Olsen, so we'll take it.
One of the other most scary movies I've ever seen is called Dead Silence. And I watched that with Andrew when we were dating. Oh my God, I'm sorry I keep talking about my fucking husband in this
episode. Really annoying.
God. Love. Is this a Valentine's Day episode?
What season do you think it is? We're murdering husbands.
Halloween just brings out the fuzzy feelings in me. We watched this movie called Dead Silence, which is horrifying, and it's about this old woman who, God, I'm going to mess up the plot, and I'm so sorry, but it has to do with ventriloquist puppets.
Oh, yes.
The man at the end is a ventriloquist puppet. His dead body is like turned into a puppet.
I do remember that
one.
That
movie is amazing. Another great one, Drag Me to Hell.
Okay, yeah, that is a good one. For like a solid year, turned back and would look in my car and be like, is anyone back there?
Oh my God. Now I'm just going to keep thinking of all my favorite horror movies as we go further down this list, and I think that's okay. Kevin Bacon was in Friday the 13th in 1980 and would be in Footloose for 4 years later.
Yep. And then Julia Louis-Dreyfus made her movie debut in Troll in 1986, which I did not know. I had just assumed she became famous from Seinfeld.
Me too.
Leonardo DiCaprio, very first movie role was in Critters 3 in 1991.
3. That makes me feel so good about my potential movie career someday. He was in Critters 1.
Critters 3.
He was in Critters 3, and now he's Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes. And then not necessarily a scary movie. It's more a comedy horror. We have Regina Hall, who played the iconic Brenda Meeks in Scary Movie. Yes. And I still say Shakespeare in Love from that. And every time I see like Scream or any of the movies that are referenced in Scary Movie, I think of her character. Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
She's so iconic. And
she's so good. When you watch... Gosh, the movie where she climbs out of the TV, The Ring.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was her funniest bit in Scary Movie when the little girl comes out of the TV.
I watched Ring when I was like on the way to New York City, and I could only think of the Scary Movie 3 version because they just did such a good job spoofing it.
Next is Skeet Ulrich, whose first big role came as Chris Hooker in The Craft. And then later the same year, he was obviously Billy Loomis in Scream. I love Skeet Ulrich. I think he's so handsome. Yeah. Oh my God.
He is very, very handsome.
It's like the only reason to keep watching Riverdale.
Yeah, and I forgot he was in The Craft, but...
I just rewatched it like last week.
Yeah,
I
think it's because he's just so iconic in Scream.
Yeah. He's a dick in The Craft, but then she does that spell because she has a crush on him and is like, I want him to fall in love with me. Yeah. And he becomes like entranced with her and tries to assault her. It gets dark quickly.
Yeah, it gets dark. And our other iconic, Neve Campbell's very first role was in The Dark as Jessie Donovan in 1993, and then later she would become the most iconic horror character, in my opinion,
Scream Queen, at least.
Prescott. Prescott. Why did I say Prescott? Like
because you and I are from Arizona.
Yeah,
that's how you, the correct
Prescott.
way. If you live in Arizona or you come to visit us, it's Prescott. It's not Prescott, Arizona. It's Prescott.
Yep. Yeah, so sorry about that. It is Sydney Prescott. I watched all of the movies with her in it this week, so I should have really known that one. And then also, we talked a little bit about Matthew McConaughey coming from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they also gave us Renee Zellweger.
And she was in The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
A lot of sequels here, which is great. This is
the 80s and 90s were giving us, they said, it worked once, let's try it again and again
and the sequels were always terrible. So Adam Scott, who I think is so handsome, I have the biggest crush on him, was in Hellraiser Bloodline. So who knows what sequel that was in the Hellraiser franchise.
Yeah.
And then Eva Mendes was in Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror. Not 1, 2, 3. No. Not even 4.
Yes.
5.
Yes. Very, very important.
Yes.
But a more modern A-list celebrity that we have gotten is Anya Taylor-Joy. Her very first acting credit was in The Witch.
I love that
Black
movie.
Phillip.
Black Phillip.
think she was just such a good find for that role. I don't love that movie a ton. I think
you need to have the subtitles on that movie for sure.
Yeah, you really do.
It's English, but
debatable. But she was so good in it because there's not a lot of dialogue in it. It's very like slow and
family centric, like one family kind of slowly spiraling.
Me and my brother still to this day always go Black Phillip.
Black Phillip.
Black Phillip.
Oh, I love Black Phillip. I want him to come live with me.
Well, he'd murder us, so I don't know if you want him
buddies.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to do this one. Hilary Swank's first movie credit came when she starred in the movie version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in 1992. It's kind of like we talked about earlier. It's not a horror, but it's kind of horror adjacent.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of kind of supernatural TV.
Yeah, Supernatural.
Like Supernatural, Buffy, Lucifer, all those kind of things. But yeah, the movie version, which is on quality, Hilary Swank. Sophia Lillis' first movie role came in It in 2017, again with those kind of more modern breakout stars, but I really liked the modern It movies. I thought they were both incredible.
Yeah, I liked them. I think they were well done, and they added value to the story versus just like a remake for remake sense.
I agree, and they took out things that probably didn't need to be on screen, like the child sex scene.
Yeah, we're good with that being cut out.
We're all set with that not happening.
Now, one of my favorite actors, Patricia Arquette, she was in A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Never heard of that.
Really? You've never seen it?
Dream Warriors?
So it's when they all go to the psych ward together.
Oh my God.
All the people who are like Freddy's victims.
You say me and you 2 years from now.
Grippy socks.
Nothing wrong with a good grippy sock vacation. Listen, happens to the best of us.
This movie is where Freddy really becomes like unkillable and like acquires all these extra powers, and so it really follows the like trilogy, like all rules are gone. Yeah, kind of in this
slowly gets stupider as it goes on.
Yeah, as they describe in like the Scream 3, like the rules to a trilogy and how that works, and it pulled a lot of those from there.
These kind of movies are probably what people think of, like we said earlier, when they say horror is a bad genre.
Yes.
They think of these stupid, like, Leprechaun 4 in the Hood.
The fifth one, Children of the Corn.
Children of the Corn 5, The Corn Lives Again. Popcorn. Like, they think of those kind of tropes. They don't know how well done and psychological and deep and, like, commentary heavy, like all of Jordan Peele's horror movies now are incredible and all full of commentary on race relations and class and very well done. So we've gotten away from the Dream Warriors of 1987. Yeah. Sorry if that's your favorite movie.
No, it's definitely not it's definitely not the best one, but I think that there's just so many iconic celebrities. Like, of course, we got Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween. And for a genre that notoriously has a bad rap, a lot of the people that we know and love are so famous from those roles. And I think that if you can do good in a horror movie that might not be the best script or it's unbelievable, but you can give a good performance, it shows that you could move over into other genres.
Exactly. Especially if you have that good classic scream. God, I wish I was a scream queen. Good for Jenna Ortega. Just like
she was actually one of them.
Iconic scream queen now for the modern age.
She got her start in Insidious Chapter 2.
Those movies are good. I
forgot she was in it as well, but it's because she's so much more famous now that you're like, oh, I forgot she was in that. And then of course,
in so many horror movies.
She went on to X, and now is Tim Burton's favorite. She
was in Scream.
Yeah, Tim Burton's favorite person right now.
His protege. No, what's the word?
Muse. Tim Burton's Muse. Uncut Gems.
Yeah. No, I love horror movies. I'm glad that I got over my
Does it correlate when you stopped being a Christian?
Oh my God. It might. Oh my God. That's so interesting.
Like your ability to want to watch it.
Maybe, that's interesting. But no, I kind of went back to my Christian roots. For
when you were dating Andrew. Yeah, I remember that.
I think it was just in my head, all horror for some reason was gory and like, I don't like watching gratuitous and over the top, like people getting tortured, and it's so much more than that.
Yes.
So now it's probably my favorite film genre, honestly, is a good horror movie.
Yeah.
And I can remove myself from seeing gratuitous bloody and violence to a certain extent now and think to myself, these are really well done effects. Like, I love a good practical effect. I love a well done CG effect. And I can just think, how did they make that scene happen? How did they do that?
Yeah.
I love this YouTube channel called Corridor Effects or Corridor Digital.
Okay.
And it's CG guys, and they all sit on a couch and they break down scenes from movies and like how they were made. And now because I watch them, that's why I hate so many cuts when a fight is going on, because now I just can't stop noticing it.
Yeah.
But so I can kind of remove myself when I think a movie's too disgusting and think, okay, this is fake, this is well done, this is well acted. I mean, to an extent, I have no interest in watching like the Terrifier movies. All of these articles are like, people are throwing up in the aisles and passing out watching Terrifier 3. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't want to have that stuck in my mind forever.
No, I don't want to be scarred for life, and I don't want anything to make me vomit. Like, same with like the Saw movies, like the more elaborate kills. I like reading the articles about them later.
Yes.
I will read all of the Wikipedia entries.
Yes. You said earlier, like, I think the scariest movie I ever saw was... I was trying to remember the name of this movie because I had to try to erase it, and it really messed me up for a while. I think it's on Netflix still, but it's called The Darkness, and it is just a very afraid of the dark horror, and it hits you back to childhood.
So afraid of the dark when I was a kid. Oh
same.
My God.
And it really like preys on that. I don't want to spoil it for everyone, but it's so good because it like hits down into some of those childhood fears I think that you have. And when horror can do that and take you back in time to it, when I was younger, I was so afraid of the Final Destination movies.
Me too. And now I think they're great.
I think about it. I think about Final Destination 2 every single time I see a truck with something in it where there's just iconic.
Oh my God, an airplane, a roller coaster. When my friends are like, oh, I just used a tanning bed. I'm like, why would you use a tanning bed? Did you not watch Final Destination?
Not just because of cancer, but also I mean, you might get burned alive like those two girls in the third one.
But then I go to the gym and like that guy is like doing a chest press or something and dies. It's just, oh my God. Yeah. Those movies are so well done. They get a little goofy, but they're very well done.
They do. If you didn't know, they're also books, and they're also comics as well. So there's a lot of lore around it. If you are like me and you love like a horror movie lore and you want to know all the different like pieces of the story and like how Freddy got more powers and things like that. I've talked about this YouTube channel before, but Cece's World does an amazing job.
Text that to me when we're done so I can
breaking
watch
it down. And so he actually broke down the entire Final Destination timeline with the comics, the movies, and the books.
I had no idea there were comics. That's interesting.
I hadn't either until I had seen that, and it was really, really interesting. But I think Final Destination can be so scary because it's death, and death comes for all of us.
I mean, eventually, spoiler, we're all gonna die.
Yes,
hopefully not in the graphic,
death and taxes.
Ways.
Yeah, you
literally.
know, only certainties in life. And Cher, yeah, she's a vampire though. That's why,
100%.
She looks like exactly the same.
So there is this Japanese horror manga series called Uzumaki. I hope I said that correctly. That's how I've been saying it. And it came out in 1998 and it ran through 1999. Just an iconic Japanese horror. I feel like you've probably seen this image before.
Yes.
Of this spiral in this woman's head with her eyeball bulging out. They finally made an anime of it.
Okay.
And horror fans and anime fans have been waiting since, 1999 to see an anime version of this. It's on Toonami / Adult Swim, but then also on Netflix.
Okay.
And it is so disturbing. And
really?
The imagery of it looks like it just hopped right off of the pages of the manga. Like, it looks, and it's all in black and white.
Okay.
It looks exactly like you're watching the manga come to life. A manga is like a comic book in Japan for people who are...
like me.
Yes. For people like Olivia, it's a comic book in Japan.
You know? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I'm going to pop Uzumaki, but I'm only on episode 2. I will admit I did not read the manga, so I don't know where it's going. And at this point, the storytelling is very strange. And I found myself shouting at the television a lot, just leave. Everything is awful. Just leave this city. Leave this town before you all die. Just leave.
Just get out.
Get the fuck out of there.
Just get out of there, man. Why are we all staying?
Literally something insanely grotesque will happen, and then the next day they're all at school like, wasn't that weird that happened to Jimmy yesterday? And I'm like, yeah, that was weird. You should flee the country. Like, you should leave. But I'll pop it. It's very well done so far. So Uzumaki on Netflix.
Okay.
Is my horror pop for now.
So, as I mentioned, I went to New York, and so that flight from Arizona is quite long.
It is.
It's about 5 hours. So I was watching some movies, and if you fly American, they have a lot of Paramount movies, and I actually watched A Quiet Place day 1.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet. Was it good?
I really, really liked it.
I love John Krasinski, though, when he's not in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he died a long time ago. They've made many movies since then.
Oh, you're right. They did make a sequel,
which had...
Well, then never mind. I guess I can watch it.
The sequel had Cillian Murphy in it, though, so it's almost an upgrade, you know?
I don't know. John Krasinski's so fine.
But Cillian Murphy has a beard in it.
I was just going to say, he's so beard as good as John Krasinski's beard.
He's so sexy in it.
I'll watch it for the beard.
It's so good. But so the movie A Quiet Place 1 is set in New York City, and I'm flying to New York City.
Yes.
And the opening credits of it say New York is averaged to be at 90 decibels of sound every second, which is the equivalent to a human scream. And so that's the first thing you see there.
And you're
like constant noise.
It's gonna be loud as hell when I get there.
Yeah, and you know what's coming because you've seen A Quiet Place if you're watching day 1, and you're just like, oh God, everyone is gonna die.
I need to watch it.
And so it kind of goes into that, but I really, really liked it.
And you should just spoil one thing for me.
Okay.
And if listeners don't want to hear this spoiler, then just plug your ears for the next 30 seconds. I just need a one-word answer.
Hit the skip button.
Does the cat live?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all.
I know.
That's all I needed.
Again, the whole time I was so worried about the cat. And like, I can't even, in my real life, I cannot even be near a cat. But I was just like, that cat better not die.
You know me, I have to go like, doesthedogdie.com
Yes.
the minute I see a dog.
Yeah. If it does, we have to turn it off. Like,
I will close my eyes, like, tell me when it's over.
So I would definitely pop that one.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to give that a whirl.
Yeah.
I'm going to give that a whirl.
I think it's worth a watch.
So everybody watch A Quiet Place day one and Uzumaki and let us know what you think. And I also want to hear in the comments and in the Facebook support group what your favorite horror movies are and your favorite horror movie genres. I think it's time for us to jump back on our broomsticks and fly on out of here. But before we go, Olivia, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
You can find me, Olivia, on Instagram at Livy Maries, LIVIMARIEZ.
You can find me, Shauna Trinidad, on Instagram at Shauna Trinidad, SHAUNATRINIDAD.
Daddy.
Like your daddy.
Wow, how did we both just...
Daddy. That's my fantasy.
We spend too much time together.
We really do. But we're not enough.
Kisses.
That's my fantasy football team this year is the Trinidaddies.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you.
No Ewok milk this time?
No, because Felipe didn't want to be Ewok milk. He's something else, like something's Red Rocket.
Oh, Guinness's?
I think it's based on Guinness and his Red Rocket.
Yeah, the dog. It's a dog, not a
beer.
person. Yeah, it's not the knot again. That's the real horror. That's the real horror.
Oh my God.
From the book
Why are
ride.
we finishing this podcast talking about dicks today? Like,
Because it's us. What do you mean?
Us.
Yeah. Now tell everyone where they can find us.
Oh my God.
Not our dicks.
Not about dicks. And you say you can't find us on dicks because
No.
you can always find me on a dick.
No. I was saying not find our dicks.
Oh. Oh my God, we're disgusting. Disgusting. Don't forget that you can manifest the Pop Culture Junkie podcast, social media links, and more at our website, popculturejunkie.com. From there, you can find our podcast on all platforms where you can follow, subscribe, rate, review, and you should do it all. I mean, please do all of that. Love you. Thank you.
Mean it.
And join our Patreon. For $1 a month, we'll give you a special shout out on an episode of the show. What a bargain. And for a mere $5, you'll get access to the completely uncensored, unedited, unsanitized video version of the podcast. We're full nude every week for the full episode. And you'll get it a week early. Can you imagine? This furniture would be so uncomfortable. We would stick to it so hard.
It is the red leather couch.
Red leather. Yellow leather. Brad Perry's favorite.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, every subscription helps us bring you the best of pop culture every week. Find us at patreon.com/popculturejunkiepodcast. Sign up and get that sneak peek, and we can say your name at least once.
Maybe twice.
Maybe we'll say it 3 times.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Come back next time for another hit of pop culture. The Pop Culture Junkie podcast is produced by Jeff Markin and Cheryl Lightfoot for the Pop Culture Entertainment Network.
So entertain